Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Welcome to Wake Up Heavy, the world's greatest horror movie podcast.
On this episode, my weird dad and I will be talking about
He lived in the jungle where he was born the king. His great strength made him lord of everything. No creature crossed his path and lived for long. His name, so legend tells us, was King Kong. His height was never measured, but was great. The jungle shook beneath his mighty weight. His arms were muscled, sturdy as a tree. His chest was thick and wide as it could be. Come on, me. Come on, Kong. Come on, me. Come on, Kong. Come on, me. He didn't dance or party. He spoke at times, but hardly. One woman heard his love call, but he was too big and too tall.
What did you think about those King Kong and Godzilla songs?
Oh, those were amazing. I loved them.
Apparently there's been a lot of songs about the two of them, so we'll have to keep finding more for our episodes. Okay, welcome back. This is Mark and
Cleo.
we're going to talk about a couple more monster battle movies today. First up is King Kong Escapes from 1967.
King Kong, Mammoth, Behemoth, Goliath, King Kong escapes and meets his greatest foe, the Kong of Steel.
So this is the one I mentioned last time. I thought there was another King Kong movie made by the Toho Studios. And I think I said something stupid like where he fights other people, and I meant where he fights other monsters. So my bad on that. And this is the one I was talking about, I think a day or two after we released our first episode. My podcast buddies released one on King Kong Escapes because it was co-produced by Rankin and Bass, who do all the Christmas and holiday shows that we watch every year. And they do a show on Rankin and Bass TV shows and movies and things. So I thought, oh, this is the one I was talking about. We watched it. And what did you think, Cleo?
It was pretty good. It was cool. I liked it. It was funny.
I think we're leaning into the more silly, not necessarily, well, yeah, I mean, there's some silly stuff in it, but I think it's more because this one, it was geared towards kids. So we get into, well, goofier storylines. Mm-hmm. What were some of your favorite parts about this one?
Just King Kong in general. He's great. But the fight with the dinosaur, I don't remember its name. Some of the, like, scenes with him with, like, he, like, interacting with people, which was cool.
The dinosaur, I guess, gets a name later on, Gorosaurus. He's in another one of the Godzilla movies, and I can't remember which one right now, but that was a great fight. It was they throw in some wrestling style moves, which he used a little bit in King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
The epic jaw ripping.
Yeah.
Which was a callback to the original King Kong, because that's what he does to the T-Rex in that. And speaking of callbacks, we got some similarities here to the first one that we watched, King Kong versus Godzilla. We have him on an island, and it's a different island, and the Americans in this story, the way they talk about Kong in this, it almost seems like it's been retconned a little bit. They're not really referring to the events of King Kong versus Godzilla. It almost seems like that doesn't exist in this universe. And they just happen to be near the island where Kong is when their submarine breaks down. And just happen to I forget what his name is, Commander Nelson or something, just happens to have studied Kong in the past. They go to the island, and how do they get there?
The little hovercraft, I guess, and it was amazing looking.
That little boat vehicle, that was one of the things that seemed to get better again. We're 5 years after King Kong versus Godzilla, and the miniatures and the effects just keep getting better. And even Kong had better eyes in this one. They weren't just painted. It looked like they were just painted on in King Kong versus Godzilla. But here he had the plexiglass covering over his eyes like Godzilla has had in those older movies. Yeah, the hovercraft was awesome. They go to the island, and instead of a whole bunch of natives, we have
one single native, and he's just yelling at them,
warning them not to enter Kong's domain. I thought that was great. It's like, I guess they were saving money on extras this time. We have evil villains in this one, which was kind of cool.
They were cool. Yeah, I liked them. Wasn't the girl's name was, I remember you saying Piranha, but, or something like that.
Madame Piranha.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And Doctor Who. And I think it was supposed to be Dr. Wu. They kind of Americanized it. What is his deal? What is he trying to get?
I believe I may be getting movies confused, but an energy source under the Earth, I guess.
They're looking for element X. So mysterious element X. And what is he built to find element X?
A robot that's basically just robotic King Kong. And it's awesome looking.
It is pretty awesome. He based his design on the work that this Commander or Admiral Nelson had done when studying Kong. So this kind of intertwines their stories. He's trying to find element X, but he's going to sell it to Madame Piranha, who is from where?
A country.
Yeah, some country. They just keep saying country. Your country, her country. And they never quite give us the specifics on that. I think they maybe didn't want to either come up with a clever fake country name, which a lot of movies do, especially kids movies and superhero movies, and or insult a real country. So we don't ever find out what her country is. And she was, and I remember pointing this out to you while we were watching, she and one of the henchmen of Doctor Who had been in our previous Godzilla movies that we watched. She was in Mothra. I think they both were in Mothra, actually. The henchman was one of the bad guys in Mothra, and she was the sister. Oh, no, she was in King Kong versus Godzilla. Sorry. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep seeing those faces. And there are some other similarities. We have Kong being taken away in a boat again. The way he was in the boat, and this is similar actually to the 1976 King Kong, which is interesting. I wonder if they took their inspiration from that. It's been a while since I've seen the original King Kong, so I can't remember exactly how that goes down in that movie. So other than the Gorosaurus, who else does King Kong battle in this one?
My memory is like broken right now.
Okay, apparently we waited too long between watching this and talking about it. When he's still on the island, he falls for the American girl, of course, who's horribly dubbed in this. Beats up Gorosaurus because he's threatening her, and then they leave in their hovercraft after she's freed and the guys come back.
Yeah.
And Kong follows them into the ocean. What happens then, Cleo?
Yes, there's a little weird-looking serpent thing. It's kind of just like a water snake. It's a serpent. And it attacks him.
He fights the sea snake. And then eventually he has to fight...
the robotic King Kong, right?
Yeah, yes.
Epic.
Are you awake yet? Do you need some coffee?
Maybe.
Robot Kong, or he's called Mechanic Kong, but they don't really say what his name is. Doctor Who keeps calling him Robot Kong, which is kind of a better name than Mechanic Kong, if you ask me. And they have their epic battle in Tokyo, I think. What are Mechanic Kong's weapons?
Now, I remember I kind of like dozed off for a bit, and I believe you did too, so...
Actually, that's true. I did fall asleep for a little bit.
I believe he had... I don't know if I actually saw this part where he had weapons.
He has his eyes light up and blind Kong.
Yes.
And that's kind of it. He doesn't like shoot laser beams or anything exciting out of his eyes like that.
Yeah.
But he does also have on the top of his head the little hypnotic device that Doctor Who tried to use on Kong when they captured him.
Yeah.
To try and make him dig up the Element X, because the Mechanic Kong that he built apparently didn't work. And so then they have to get Kong, and that's sort of the whole deal with this one.
Kind of weird that this massive robotic ape that they made specifically to like dig up this element didn't work. There needs to be like a villain in the movie, so I get that, but it's still kind of weird.
You get these ideas. Oh, let's do a mechanical Kong. We've done a mechanical Godzilla. Actually, I don't know if Mechagodzilla had come out yet or not. I'm not totally up on the timeline.
Yeah.
But that seems like the next natural step. And so why do we have Mechanic Kong? Yeah, the plots get convoluted because they just want to put their cool ideas into a movie, and then you work around that. And when you kind of work backwards on plots and stuff like that, doesn't always make sense.
Yeah.
Our wonderful robotic Kong doesn't make it like past his first attempt at digging up Element X. The one thing that kind of surprised me about this was that there were human killings, not from the animals, but Doctor Who kills that poor native guy, spoilers.
Yeah.
And then ends up killing who else?
Madame Piranha. She gets like shot a couple of times.
Yeah, the first time she gets shot, she doesn't die, and then he shoots her again, and she does. And they were pretty bloody.
Yeah. For
what's supposed to be a kids movie, surprisingly bloody kills.
Yeah, when you said kids movie, I was like, it's kind of gross. Not gross, but it has blood and some murder in it, so.
They definitely used blood packs in this. A lot of times in movies that old or geared towards kids, somebody might get shot, but the blood doesn't spray out all over the place.
Yeah.
Would you agree that this was starting to lean even more into the silly side?
Definitely.
The effects are still getting better. Kong looked a little better. They sort of fixed his arm situation where in King Kong versus Godzilla, those big floppy arms didn't work so well, but they shortened them for the fights so the actor could actually use his arms instead of just flinging them around.
Yeah.
The problem in this is someone wants to conquer the world, and I don't know how many of the Godzilla movies do that. I think this is the first one where we watched where the evil villain was doing more than just being greedy. They wanted to take over the world, which is still greed, but it's a little on a larger scale. And then how about the battles in this one?
Oh, they were great. I liked them a lot. They were I wouldn't say much better than the Mothra ones, but they were better than some of the older ones. King Kong versus Godzilla. I liked Kong trying to rip the dinosaur's face apart. That was fun.
And what was the dinosaur's special move?
Didn't he just like bite people?
No, he had the kangaroo kick.
Oh yes. Ah.
Maybe we should have watched this again before we talked about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, he had the kangaroo kick, which we both really liked.
Yes, that was beautiful.
How would you rate this versus the other two that we watched? Where would this rank with Godzilla versus Mothra and King Kong versus Godzilla?
I think I gave Mothra 6 or something, but I like this one a little better, so probably like 7 or 8 out of 10.
This has been my favorite so far. I really enjoyed this one, even though it was kind of out there. There was something interesting happening throughout the whole movie, and it was a lot of fun, and I don't care whether the story makes sense or not. The dubbing was really spotty in some parts, especially for that doctor from the submarine, the lady that Kong falls for.
Yeah. She was a little...
And it was the same woman doing both the female voices. I don't know why. I talked about this on another episode, how sometimes they just do the weirdest sounding voices, and it takes you out of it a little bit.
They feel the need to make these characters sound super different. So, like, for Madame Piranha, she sounded normal, I guess. And then for the lady, who I don't remember her name, if she even had one, was just, like, super... I would say animated. Yeah, animated. Her voice is very, like, peppy. It was so weird.
Knowing that it was done by the same person just makes you wonder, what were you thinking with this one? But overall, I enjoyed this one, I think, the most. It is very hard to find. I couldn't find it streaming anywhere. So viewers, you might have to do some searching to track it down. On the same day, and this is the reason we're doing all this, we watched the new one.
The mightiest monsters of all time, King Kong, Godzilla.
And I just realized we're actually even on Kong and Godzilla representation in these first 4 movies that we've done. 3 of them have featured Kong, and 3 of them have featured Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
There's been one movie each where the other one doesn't appear. So even Stevens will probably run out of Kong movies before we run out of Godzilla movies, but we should try and find some other Kong movies.
Mm-hmm.
So the brand new 2021, available on HBO Max, Godzilla vs. Kong.
It was amazing. The CGI was good. The cute little moments were cute.
What little moments?
Gia, I think her name was, with Kong was adorable. I loved that. Each time she interacted with him, it was cute. So
The little deaf girl.
yeah.
I liked that part of the story. And there's been a lot of talk. It hasn't even been out for a week, but in these and other modern monster movies, the human element always seems to be a problem.
Yeah.
It's either we get too much backstory or not enough, or there's nothing for us to really care about. I haven't seen that many of the modern ones.
Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot that there was one before this. I was thinking it went from Kong Skull Island to this one. I forgot about King of the Monsters, where we're introduced to some of these people.
Yeah, I didn't even...
Like the Millie Bobby Brown character. Yeah. A lot of people like that one. It didn't do very well. We'll eventually, I'm sure, watch it through all of this. That people aren't really what the audience is going there to see anyway.
Yeah.
They're fine. That was great, that communication between Kong and the little girl.
Yeah.
Bringing in that sign language thing, which just makes me think of Coco the gorilla, who I've always loved. The one thing that bugged me, though, is that, and a lot of these movies do this, where it's epic in scale as far as, we have to be in like 5 different places.
Yeah.
I start to get confused because I didn't know how Millie Bobby Brown and the podcaster guy and her little friend ended up in Hong Kong when they had been in Florida.
Yeah, that was weird. They got in a little pod thing and then boom, you're in Hong Kong. What? Where did that happen?
They're using the Hollow Earth tube system that's been discovered, but still seems like that would take a really long time.
Yeah.
But we had that, and then we had like her dad and then another play, or he was in Hong Kong too, but part of the movie she's in Hong Kong, but she was in Florida, and then they're on Skull Island with Kong, but it's a manufactured Skull Island, and now we've got to get him out, and we're going to travel to Antarctica and blah, all this stuff. And it's like, we just want to see these two fight.
Yeah.
The fights were great.
They were pretty cool. I mean, obviously they're not going to have that like charm of the men in suits fighting each other as an ape and a lizard. The CGI was cool, and I don't know how to explain it. It was just a good fight. It wasn't, I mean, it's destructive, really destructive, but...
That always stresses me out.
Yeah.
And I talked about that during the movie when your mom and I went and saw the first Avengers movie. I was like, oh my God, all these people in these buildings and it's just because they can do it with the CGI and make everything, well, this would really happen if giant monsters came out of the sky. Yeah, I get that, but it's just so, put them on an island like they did in King Kong versus Godzilla and let them fight each other. The nice thing about this that a lot of modern movies, I think, fail at is that you could see everything. It wasn't really dark, and there's always like a storm or something to cover up maybe some bad CGI. But I agree. I think they both looked very good. I like Kong's look with his kind of old man hipster beard.
Yeah.
I didn't get as good a look at Godzilla through a lot of the movie. The design that they have for the modern Godzilla is pretty cool.
Yeah, especially when Godzilla's swimming and stuff. It's pretty cool looking.
It was interesting that we had an evil villain who was basically doing the same thing as our evil villain in King Kong Escapes.
Yeah.
He was making a
giant mechanical robotic version of one of these monsters, and it was Godzilla in this movie.
I didn't care for the look of that Mecha Godzilla all that much.
Yeah, it was kind of silly looking, but they teamed up and destroyed it, so there we go.
There were a couple of other nods to a lot of the different King Kong movies. I don't know why. I'm curious as to why they didn't call this King Kong versus Godzilla, because King Kong was the star of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's on a boat when they have to move him, just like he has been in nearly every King Kong movie we've watched.
Yeah.
He's doped up and chained, and in this one, he shoves the end of the axe, I believe, down Godzilla's throat, and in King Kong vs. Godzilla, he shoves a tree in his mouth.
Yeah. And he gets picked up by balloons again, or just carried.
Yes, he gets netted and carried away by helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's King Kong Escapes that he gets carried away by the helicopters.
Yeah.
Remember, they clamp his arms and legs and stuff in those little yellow and red helicopters. So it kind of hit on both of those because he gets carried away.
I believe he pulls on Mechagodzilla's jaw again, or mouth. I think that happened.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he rips it, or tries to, like he has with other lizard-type creatures.
Yeah.
What did you think about the Hollow Earth stuff?
It was cool looking. I liked the whole look of it, and him going up to that mountaintop and just floating back down to the other side of it, like the mirror version of it. That was cool. The weird, flying serpent things were kind of gross when he destroyed them, but it was pretty, to be honest. It was a little cool paradise. And I said it reminded me of Journey to the Center of the Earth when I watched that however many years ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I did. I liked it too. It was really bright, and all the purple in the rocks, I guess that was the element that they were some kind of, element X. We're looking for this stuff to power our mechanical robot. So again, lots of little nods and winks to earlier films. Yeah, that whole inside was very cool looking, and that idea of sort of just flipping over to the top, which is now the bottom, the gravity changes through all that.
Yeah.
We watched both of these on the same day, and I think I still enjoyed King Kong Escapes more than this new one, but I'm sure we'll watch it again before it leaves HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
So where would you rate this one in the 4 movies that we've watched?
Honestly, probably the same as King Kong Escapes. I liked it just as much. It was good. Honestly, I liked all of the movies that we've watched so far, so it's kind of hard for me to rate them, but probably a solid 8. I liked it.
It was definitely leaning more towards the serious side, which these movies tend to do. There's jokes and silliness throughout, but it's not a kiddie movie or goofy movie or anything like that. And there's always comic relief. The battles were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that Kong wins every battle. I don't know. I guess I have a thing for Kong.
Yeah.
And the problem was the same as King Kong Escapes. Somebody trying to rule the world or be so greedy that they don't care about anything else.
And he eventually gets murdered by his own creation, which was kind of nice.
Spoilers!
Yeah. Oops.
All right, well, we'll have to figure out what we're going to watch next time on our little old list, and maybe we'll dive into some of those ripoffs. There's Kong ripoffs, and there's Godzilla ripoffs that we can dive into.
Ooh.
Thanks once again, Cleo, for guesting on the show.
You're welcome.
Nice.